The room was laughing at the little girl's shoes when she pointed across the marble floor and called the most dangerous man in the city, Papa. Every fork stopped. Every glass froze. The Valenti family dining hall had been filled with silk dresses, diamond bracelets, black suits, and people who smiled like cruelty was good breeding. At the center of it all stood Alessandro Valenti, 41 years old, tall, powerful, cold-eyed, wearing a black tailored suit with an open collar and dark tattoos crawling over one hand like shadows. Men had died for lying to him. Women lowered their voices when he entered. Even his own family feared the silence behind his eyes. But the child did not fear him. She was 6 years old, small, with messy brown curls, a faded pink cardigan, and a paper flower clutched in one hand. Her mother, a poor single mom in a stained waitress uniform, stood behind her with tears already filling her eyes. "Mia," the woman whispered. "No." But Mia stepped forward anyway. She looked at Alessandro like she had found someone she had been missing her whole life. "You're my papa," she said softly. "Mommy has your picture." Alessandro's face did not move, but his hand tightened around the wineglass until the stem cracked. Across the table, his aunt went pale. His fiancée stopped smiling. And the poor single mom, Bianca Moreau, looked like the secret she had buried for 7 years had just walked into the light wearing tiny worn-out shoes. No one in that room knew it yet, but the little girl had not made a mistake. She had just exposed the lie that split 2 lives apart, ruined a mother's name, and almost gave the Valenti Empire to the very people who had mocked her. Before that night, Bianca Moreau had survived by making herself invisible. She moved through rich people's houses with trays in her hands and apologies on her tongue. She cleaned wine from marble floors, picked up broken champagne glasses, smiled at women who never looked at her face, and said yes, and to men who thought money made them taller. She was 29, with tired brown eyes, soft chestnut hair always pinned back too quickly, and a face that still held beauty beneath exhaustion. Her uniform was black, but not elegant. It was the kind of black that came from too many washes and too few replacements. Her shoes had cardboard tucked inside the soles because one of them had split open during a wedding job 2 weeks earlier. But Bianca was not weak. Weak women did not raise children alone on 3 jobs and 4 hours of sleep. Weak women did not smile at their daughters while counting rent money that was not enough. Weak women did not run from men who threatened them and still show up to work the next morning with steady hands. Her daughter Mia was the only soft thing left in Bianca's world. 6 years old. Bright eyes. Too much hope. Too many questions. Mia had never met her father, but she knew one thing about him. He existed inside a photograph Bianca kept hidden in a small tin box under the mattress. The photograph was old now, creased at the corner, taken in the rain outside a little bookshop. In it, Bianca was younger, smiling in a red coat she no longer owned. Beside her stood a tall man with dark hair, sharp eyes, and one tattooed hand resting protectively at her back. Mia had found the photo once. "Is he my daddy?" she had asked. Bianca had frozen so long that Mia answered herself. "He looks like me," the little girl whispered. Bianca had taken the photo gently and said, "He was someone I loved." "Did he love you?" Bianca had looked away. "Yes," she said. "I think he did." She never said his name. Not because she was ashamed. Because saying Alessandro Valenti's name out loud felt like opening a locked door with danger waiting on the other side. 7 years earlier, Bianca had worked as a seamstress in a small luxury boutique that altered gowns for mafia wives, actresses, politicians' mistresses, and women who could spend more on a dress than Bianca made in 6 months. Alessandro Valenti had come in one rainy night because his sister's wedding jacket needed emergency repairs. He should never have noticed Bianca. But he did. He noticed that she did not tremble when his guards entered. He noticed that she stitched quietly while everyone else stared. He noticed that when he asked why she was not afraid, she said, "Because fear makes my hands shake, and your sister needs this jacket fixed." Alessandro had laughed once. Not loudly. Not fully. Just enough to change the air. For 3 months, he returned with excuses. A torn cuff. A missing button. A sleeve he said felt wrong. Bianca pretended not to know he was lying. He pretended not to know she knew. Then came the night everything changed. A rival family attacked one of Alessandro's warehouses. Bianca was seen near his car because he had sent for her. By morning, someone inside the Valenti family accused her of passing information. Alessandro disappeared for 2 days. When Bianca went to the Valenti estate to explain, his aunt, Caterina Valenti, met her at the gate. Caterina wore pearls and cruelty like both were inherited. "He knows what you did," she told Bianca. "He told me to remove you quietly." Bianca did not believe her. Not until Caterina handed her an envelope with cash and a note written in Alessandro's handwriting. "Forget me. Leave the city. You were never family." Bianca left with nothing but a broken heart and, 3 weeks later, the knowledge that she was pregnant. Every letter she sent came back unopened. Every call went dead. So she raised Mia alone. And on the night of the Valenti family celebration, Bianca walked back into the estate she had sworn never to see again because her catering company assigned her there and she could not afford to refuse. The Valenti mansion rose out of the rain like a black castle pretending to be a home. Tall windows glowed white against the dark. Security men stood beneath stone arches. Luxury cars curved along the driveway, and inside, chandeliers burned above a family dinner celebrating Caterina Valenti's 60th birthday. Bianca's stomach twisted the moment she saw the gate. "Mama," Mia whispered from the back seat of the catering van, "are the people here rich?" Bianca forced a smile. "Very rich." Mia looked down at her cardigan. "Do I look okay?" "You look beautiful." The sitter had cancelled at the last minute. Bianca had begged the catering manager to let Mia sit in the staff room with a coloring book. He agreed only because they were short 2 servers and desperate for hands. "Keep her invisible," the manager warned. Bianca almost laughed. Invisible was the only thing she knew how to be. But the Valenti house remembered her. The marble foyer where she had once waited with rain in her hair. The staircase where Alessandro had paused to look back at her. The portrait hall where his family's painted faces watched like judges. She entered through the service door with Mia holding the back of her coat. The kitchen roared with movement. Chefs shouted. Plates clattered. Staff rushed in black uniforms. Bianca set Mia on a little stool near the pantry and placed a paper bag beside her. "Stay here, baby. Color. Don't come out unless I call you." Mia nodded, but her eyes were already wandering toward the hallway. "Mama," she whispered, "is this where he lives?" Bianca went still. "Who?" Mia reached into her cardigan pocket and pulled out the old photograph. Bianca's breath caught. "Mia, why do you have that?" "I wanted to know if maybe he would be here." Bianca took the photo quickly and crouched in front of her daughter. "Listen to me. That man is not part of our life. But he's my papa." Bianca's eyes filled. "He doesn't know that." "Then we should tell him." No, the word came too fast, too sharp. Mia flinched, and Bianca softened her voice. "No, sweetheart. Some truths are not safe." Mia looked at the photo again. But lies hurt too. Bianca had no answer for that. Outside the kitchen, the family dinner began. The dining hall was enormous, with white marble floors, silver candlesticks, long glass tables, and flowers arranged so perfectly they looked unreal. Caterina sat at the head like a queen made of ice. Beside her was Isabella Vero, Alessandro's fiancée, elegant in a pale silver dress, her smile smooth and empty. Around them sat cousins, uncles, family loyalists, rich wives, and men who pretended to be businessmen because the newspapers preferred polite words. Then Alessandro entered. The room changed before anyone spoke. He was taller than Bianca remembered, broader, colder. His dark hair was slicked back. His jaw was sharp. His eyes carried the kind of silence that made people confess before being accused. His black suit fit like armor, and when he adjusted his cuff, Bianca saw the tattoos across his hand. The same hand that had once held hers in the rain. She almost dropped the wine bottle. Alessandro did not see her at first. Why would he? She was staff now. A black uniform. A lowered face. A ghost carrying expensive wine. But Caterina saw her. The older woman's gaze sharpened. Bianca felt it like a knife. She moved along the table pouring wine, hoping to finish the course and disappear. But when she reached Katerina's chair, the woman leaned back and smiled. "Well," Katerina said loudly enough for the nearest guests to hear, "some stains do return, no matter how well you clean the house." Bianca's hand tightened around the bottle. Alessandro looked up. Their eyes met. For 1 second, the room vanished. His face changed so slightly no one else might have noticed. Shock. Recognition. A wound reopening behind the eyes. "Bianca," he said. Isabella's smile faded. Katerina laughed softly. "You remember the seamstress?" Bianca lowered her gaze. "I'm only here to work." "Of course you are," Katerina said. "Women like you are always near wealthy rooms, holding trays and hoping someone forgets what they are." A few people chuckled. Bianca's face burned, but she stayed still. Alessandro's voice cut through the laughter. "Enough." The room quieted. Katerina lifted her brows. "I am teasing, nephew. Surely your staff can survive a joke." Bianca turned to leave. But then Mia appeared in the doorway. Small. Curious. Holding a paper flower she had made from a napkin. Bianca's heart stopped. "Mama." Mia called softly. Every head turned. The dining hall went silent for half a beat. Then Isabella laughed. "Oh my," she said. "She brought a child." The laughter that followed was quiet but cruel. Bianca rushed toward Mia. "Go back to the kitchen." But Katerina's voice stopped her. "No, no. Let us meet the little guest." Her eyes moved over Mia's faded cardigan, worn shoes, and uneven ponytail. "Though I must say, Bianca, if you were going to smuggle someone into a Valenti dinner, you might have dressed her better." Mia hid behind Bianca's skirt. One cousin smirked. "Maybe she came for leftovers." Another said, "Poor thing probably thought this was a shelter." Bianca's entire body went hot with rage. She placed a protective hand on Mia's shoulder. "Do not speak about my daughter." Katerina smiled. "Daughter? How charming. Does she have a father, or is that also a mystery?" The word struck like a slap. Bianca stepped back. Alessandro stood. The chair scraped sharply across marble. But before he could speak, Isabella rose and walked toward Mia with false sweetness. "What is your name, little one?" Mia looked at her mother first. "Mia." "Mia," Isabella repeated. "And did your mother teach you to walk into rich people's dinners uninvited?" Mia's eyes filled, but she did not cry. "She told me to stay in the kitchen." "Then perhaps you should learn to obey." Bianca moved Mia behind her. "We're leaving." Katerina's voice hardened. "Yes, you are." Alessandro looked at Bianca. "No one is leaving." The room tightened. Katerina's smile remained, but her eyes flashed warning. "Alessandro, do not embarrass yourself over a server." Mia peeked around Bianca's coat. Her gaze landed on Alessandro. She stared at him, then at his tattooed hand, then back at his face. Slowly, she reached into her pocket and pulled out the old photograph. Bianca whispered, "Mia, please." But the child stepped into the center of the room. Her tiny hand held the picture up. "You're my papa," Mia said. The silence that followed was not empty. It was dangerous. Alessandro did not move. The photograph trembled in Mia's hand. It showed him younger, standing beside Bianca in the rain, his hand at her back, his face softer than anyone in that room had ever seen it. Isabella went pale. Katerina's expression cracked. Alessandro walked toward the child slowly. Every step echoed. When he stopped in front of Mia, he looked down at the photograph, then at her face. Her eyes. His eyes. The same unusual gray-green shade that ran through the Valenti bloodline like a signature. His voice came out low. "How old are you?" Mia swallowed. 6. Bianca closed her eyes. Alessandro looked at Bianca then, and for the first time in 7 years, the cold man broke. "Bianca," he said, "is she mine?" Katerina stood quickly. "This is absurd." Alessandro did not look away. Answer me. Bianca's voice shook, but she lifted her chin. Yes. A chair fell backward somewhere at the table. Isabella gasped like the truth had insulted her. Caterina's hand gripped the back of her chair. Alessandro stared at Bianca as if she had put a knife in his chest and called it mercy. You never told me. I tried. His eyes sharpened. What does that mean? Bianca laughed once, broken and bitter. It means I wrote. I called. I came here. Your aunt met me at the gate and told me you ordered her to remove me. Alessandro turned slowly toward Caterina. The old woman's face hardened. She is lying. Bianca reached into the small pocket of her apron and pulled out a folded note, worn from years of opening and closing. I kept this, she said, because it was the only proof I had that I wasn't crazy. She handed it to Alessandro. His tattooed fingers unfolded the paper. Forget me. Leave the city. You were never family. His own signature sat at the bottom. But Alessandro knew immediately. That is not my hand. Caterina said, Of course it is. You were grieving. Angry. She betrayed us. Alessandro's eyes lifted. Who told you she betrayed us? Caterina's jaw tightened. Isabella stepped forward. Alessandro, please. This woman appears after years with a child and a note. You cannot let her manipulate you. Mia's little voice cut through. Mommy cried when she read that. Everyone looked at her. Mia hugged the photo to her chest. She kept it in the tin box. She said my papa didn't want us. But I knew maybe someone lied, because Mommy only cries when she misses people. That was the moment Alessandro's anger changed. It was no longer confusion. It became purpose. He turned to his guards. Close the doors. Caterina's eyes widened. Do not make a scene at my birthday dinner. Alessandro's voice was calm enough to terrify. This is no longer your birthday dinner. The heavy dining hall doors shut. Bianca pulled Mia closer. Alessandro, don't frighten her. He looked at the child, and the coldness in his face softened. I will not frighten her. Then he looked at Caterina. I will frighten everyone else. No one spoke. Alessandro placed the forged note on the table. For 7 years, he said, someone let me believe Bianca betrayed me. Someone let my daughter grow up thinking I rejected her. Someone let this woman raise a Valenti child in poverty while this family sat at my table. Caterina lifted her chin. You were young, distracted. I protected the family. You stole my child. The words hit the room like thunder. Caterina's face tightened. I protected your bloodline from a woman who would have weakened it. Bianca stepped forward, shaking with fury. My daughter has never weakened anyone. Caterina's eyes slid to her. Your daughter wore broken shoes into a Valenti dining hall. Bianca's voice rose. Because I bought medicine before shoes. The room fell silent. Mia looked down at her feet. Alessandro looked too. One shoe had a loose strap. The leather was scuffed white at the toe. Something in his face darkened so sharply that even the guards shifted. He crouched in front of Mia, lowering himself until his eyes met hers. Did anyone ever make you feel ashamed of those shoes? Mia hesitated. Then she nodded. Alessandro's jaw tightened. Who? Mia looked at Caterina. Then Isabella. Then the table. Everybody. Bianca's eyes filled. Alessandro stood. He did not shout. He did not slam the table. But his voice carried the kind of quiet rage that made powerful men sit still. Everyone who laughed at my daughter's shoes will leave this table without my protection. The room erupted in murmurs. One uncle stood. Alessandro, she is a child. We did not know. You knew she was poor. That was enough for you. Isabella's face went stiff. You cannot humiliate your own family over a waitress. Alessandro turned to her slowly. She is the mother of my child. She hid your child. Bianca snapped. I protected her from this. Isabella glared. From what? Wealth? Status? A real family. Bianca stepped closer, eyes wet but fierce. From people who call children mistakes and mothers stains. The room quieted again. Alessandro looked at Bianca with something close to awe. For 7 years, he had believed she ran because she was guilty. Now he understood she had been surviving a punishment meant to erase her. A guard entered quietly and handed Alessandro a tablet. "Boss," he said, "we found the old gate footage. 7 years ago. The night Miss Moro came here." Caterina's face drained. Alessandro did not take his eyes off her. "Play it." The video appeared on a wall screen used earlier for family speeches. Grainy black and white footage showed Bianca at the gate, younger, soaked in rain. One hand on her stomach, though she did not know yet why she had been so sick. Caterina stood before her. A guard held an umbrella over Caterina, not Bianca. The audio crackled. Caterina's voice filled the room. "He knows what you did. He told me to remove you quietly." Bianca's younger voice answered, "I need to speak to him. He does not want you. Take the money. Leave before I let my nephew handle you his way." Then Caterina handed her the envelope. The recording ended. No one breathed. Alessandro looked at Caterina. Was that protection? Caterina's mask finally slipped. "You were becoming soft," she said. "For her. You were missing meetings, questioning orders, refusing alliances. Your father built this family with discipline, and you were ready to throw it into the hands of a seamstress. I loved her." The words stunned even Bianca. Alessandro did not look away from Caterina. "I loved her, and you made me bury her while she was still alive." Caterina's lip curled. "Love is a disease in men like you." Mia's tiny voice answered before anyone else could. "No, it isn't." Everyone turned. Mia stepped closer to Alessandro and took his tattooed hand with both of hers. "It's not a disease," she said. "It's why Mommy never said bad things about you." Alessandro froze. A little hand holding his. No fear. No calculation. No family politics. Just trust. His eyes lowered to her fingers wrapped around his tattooed hand, and the entire room watched the feared Mafia boss struggle with something more dangerous than anger. Tenderness. Then the doors burst open. A man in a cheap grey suit was dragged inside by 2 guards, his face bruised from rain and panic, not violence. Carlo Venn, Bianca's ex, the man who had pretended to help her during Mia's toddler years, the man who had recently started demanding money, claiming he knew who the child really belonged to. Bianca went cold. "Carlo." He looked at her and smiled weakly. "Tell them this is a misunderstanding." Alessandro's grip tightened around Mia's hand. A guard placed a phone on the table. "We found messages between Carlo, Miss Vero, and Donna Caterina," the guard said. Isabella's face turned white. Alessandro looked at her. Bianca whispered, "What messages?" The phone played a recording. Isabella's voice came first. "If the child appears, make Bianca look unstable. Caterina says Alessandro will believe family before a poor woman." Then Carlo's voice. "And after the wedding?" Caterina answered. "After the wedding, Isabella controls access to Alessandro. The child disappears into some boarding charity. Bianca signs away any claim, or she does not leave the estate." Bianca made a sound like she had been struck. Mia clung to Alessandro. He slowly placed himself in front of both mother and child. It was not dramatic. It was instinct. One step. A wall made of black suit, tattoos, power, and rage. Isabella began speaking quickly. "Alessandro, listen to me. I did this for us. For the family. You needed a wife from our world, not some woman who shows up with a child and a sob story." Alessandro's voice was deadly soft. "You planned to take my daughter." "No. I planned to protect your name. My name was never in danger from a child." Caterina slammed her hand on the table. "You are blinded. That little girl makes you vulnerable." Alessandro looked down at Mia. She was holding his sleeve, scared but trying not to show it. Then he looked at Bianca. She stood behind him, face pale, but her eyes were still fierce. Even now, even surrounded by the family that had destroyed her life, she had one hand on Mia's shoulder like she would fight every person in the room before letting them touch her child. Alessandro finally understood. Bianca had not been his weakness. Losing her had been. He turned to the room. Caterina Valenti is removed from family authority. Her accounts are frozen. Her properties return to the trust by sunrise. Caterina gasped. You cannot do this. I can. Isabella stepped back. Alessandro. The engagement is over. Her mouth opened. He removed the ring from his finger, not a wedding ring, but the alliance ring meant for the public announcement that night. He placed it on the table between them. You wanted my name, he said. Now you can watch it close every door you plan to enter. Carlo dropped to his knees. Bianca, please. I only scared you because they paid me. I never would have hurt Mia. Bianca looked at him for a long moment. Once, she had feared him. Now she only saw a small man kneeling in a rich room, trying to use pity because cruelty had failed. You told my daughter her father didn't want her, Bianca said. Carlo swallowed. You stood outside her school and said if I ever spoke the truth, she would vanish. Mia hid her face against Alessandro's side. Alessandro's eyes went black with rage. But Bianca raised one hand. No, she said softly. Alessandro turned. Bianca stepped around him, closer to Carlo. I don't want her first memory of her father to be revenge. The room watched her. She looked at the guards. Call the police. Give them the messages. The threats. Everything. Alessandro studied her, then nodded once. Carlo began to sob as guards pulled him away. Caterina looked disgusted. Police? You would let outsiders handle family matters. Alessandro's eyes stayed on Bianca. She is right, he said. My daughter deserves justice in daylight. That sentence changed something in the room. Not because it was gentle. Because it was final. The officers arrived 20 minutes later. Caterina still held her head high when they escorted her out, but her hands trembled. Isabella cried only when she realized no one was rushing to save her. Carlo begged until the doors closed behind him. When the last car disappeared down the driveway, the dining hall looked stripped of its glamour. The flowers remained. The silver remained. The candles remained. But the cruelty had gone quiet. Mia stood beside Alessandro, staring at the table. There's still cake, she said. Bianca let out a shaky laugh through tears. Alessandro looked at the untouched birthday cake Caterina had ordered for herself. White frosting. Pearl decorations. A crown-shaped topper. Mia looked up at him. Can we eat it? For the first time that night, Alessandro smiled. Not the polite smile of a mafia boss. A real one. Yes, he said. But not here. He led them out of the dining hall and into a smaller room off the library. No chandeliers. No watching relatives. No cruel laughter. Just a warm lamp, rain tapping the windows, and a little round table near the fireplace. A servant brought 3 plates. Mia climbed onto a chair and looked at Alessandro seriously. Do I have to call you Mr. Valenti? Alessandro sat across from her, still careful, still unsure how to hold something as fragile as fatherhood. You can call me whatever makes you comfortable. Mia thought about it. Then she whispered, Papa. Bianca closed her eyes as tears fell. Alessandro did not move for a moment. Then he reached across the table and gently covered Mia's small hand with his tattooed one. I missed 6 years, he said, voice rough. I will spend the rest of my life making sure you never feel missed again. Mia nodded like that sounded fair. Then she pushed her cake toward him. You can have the flower. Alessandro looked at the frosting flower, then at Bianca. Bianca laughed softly, wiping her face. It was the first laugh he had heard from her in 7 years, and it hurt more than any bullet because it reminded him of everything stolen. Later, when Mia fell asleep curled on the library sofa beneath a grey blanket, Bianca stood near the window watching rain trace the glass. Alessandro approached quietly. I searched for you, he said. She did not turn. I wanted to believe that. I was told you took money from the Revelis and vanished. I was told you threw me away. They stood in silence with 7 years between them. Finally, Bianca looked at him. I don't know how to do this. Neither do I. That honesty softened something in her face. I won't let you take over her life, she said. Mia needs love, not guards at every door. She will have both love and safety. Safety can become a prison. Alessandro nodded. Then you will hold the key. She searched his face, looking for control, ownership, pride. But she saw grief, regret, and something more dangerous. Hope. I'm still angry, she whispered. You should be. I still don't trust this house. Good. She blinked. He stepped closer, but not close enough to trap her. Trust me slowly, he said. Trust the house never, until I earn the right to bring you peace inside it. Bianca's eyes filled again. You always spoke like that. Like what? Like every promise was a vow. Alessandro looked toward Mia asleep on the sofa. This one is. Bianca followed his gaze. Mia's small hand was open against the blanket, still sticky with frosting, still wearing the little plastic bracelet Bianca had bought from a dollar store vending machine. A child who had walked into a room full of wolves and called one of them Papa. She saved me, Alessandro said quietly. Bianca looked at him. He did not mean from danger. He meant from becoming exactly what his family wanted him to be. Cold, empty, untouchable. She saves everyone, Bianca whispered. By morning, the Valenti estate had changed. Caterina's portrait was removed from the dining hall. Isabella's family cars were turned away at the gate. Every person who had laughed at Mia bowed their heads when the little girl walked past in new shoes Alessandro had ordered but Bianca inspected first, because pride mattered even inside protection. Mia chose simple blue ones. Not diamonds. Not designer leather. Blue shoes with little white stars. They make me fast, she said. Alessandro looked at Bianca. Then they are perfect. The staff prepared breakfast in the small sunroom, not the grand dining hall. Bianca refused to let Mia sit at the same table where she had been mocked the night before. Alessandro agreed without argument. That mattered. Mia ate pancakes with too much syrup while Alessandro sat beside her, looking like a man negotiating peace with a world he did not understand. When syrup dripped onto his tattooed hand, Mia gasped. Sorry. Alessandro looked at the sticky spot. Then he picked up his napkin and said, This is the least dangerous thing anyone has put on my hand. Mia giggled. Bianca smiled before she could stop herself. Alessandro saw it. He did not say anything, but his expression changed, warmed by 1/2 degree. For him, that was almost sunlight. After breakfast, he walked them to the garden. The rain had cleaned the stone paths. The roses looked brighter. The city beyond the estate seemed far away. Mia ran ahead, blue shoes flashing. Bianca watched her. She already loves you. Alessandro's voice was quiet. That scares me more than my enemies. It should. He nodded. Bianca looked at him then. I don't want her raised by fear. Neither do I. You're a mafia boss. I know what I am. And what does that make us? He was silent for a long moment. Then he said, Not prisoners. Not decorations. Not secrets. He turned to her. Family, if you allow it. Slowly. On your terms. With every protection I can give and every freedom you refuse to surrender. Bianca looked away before he could see how deeply that hit. For years, she had imagined this moment as anger. As confrontation. As a door slammed in his face. But life rarely obeyed the stories people rehearse in pain. Instead, she stood in a garden with the man who had not abandoned her, the child who had found him, and the possibility of a future that did not begin with hiding. Mia ran back to them breathless, holding a white rose. She handed it to Alessandro. For you, Papa. Alessandro took it like it was more valuable than every diamond inside his vault. Then Mia grabbed his tattooed hand with one hand and Bianca's with the other. Now walk, she ordered. Bianca laughed. Bossy. Alessandro looked down at their joined hands. For the first time in his life, he obeyed without wanting control. The Valenti family had mocked the poor single mom. They had laughed at her daughter's shoes, her uniform, her poverty, her place in the world. But they had not understood one thing. Bianca had never needed their approval to be worthy. Mia had never needed their bloodline to be precious. And Alessandro Valenti, feared by an entire city, had never been more powerful than the moment his daughter called him Papa and he chose love over the family that taught him fear. If this story pulled you into the world of loyalty, danger, single mother strength, and mafia protection, hit like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments, would you have trusted Alessandro or walked away with your child?